Welcome back to Movie Rivals. Let's just jump right into it with what we want to talk about. I think, yeah, you wanted to start with Thor: Love and Thunder. I just saw that last night. But yeah, go ahead. Were your thoughts, and how much did you like it?
I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's just an average Marvel movie. I like the Marvel movies, so I liked it. It was funny, but it just, I don't know, the villain doesn't fit the movie. You got a really dark horror movie of a esque villain in the middle of a comedy. And I feel like the tone clash is there. I feel like they just thought of a bunch of random stuff. It doesn't feel like cohesive the way it bounces through the film. But all in all, still had a good time watching it. What do you think?
I liked it. I think way far better than Ragnarok. And to me, it's my favorite
Oh,
Thor movie. Um,
wow.
I don't know what everybody is talking about. This movie was much better than Ragnarok, in my opinion. The villain Christian Bale killed it. And this felt like it was a good because it was a Thor only problem. I wasn't watching this movie the whole time thinking, why isn't he going back to the Guardians? Or why isn't he going to Earth and trying to find some other heroes to help him? It felt like this was a nice story that was just for Thor. And yeah, I really liked it. I thought the villain's motivations made sense. This is a perfect cookie cutter villain, in my opinion, as far as somebody who has just lost their way, somebody who isn't necessarily evil, but has just been wronged. And there is an object that is corrupting him beyond his control. And with those three things, and that's kind of the same thing that happened in Shang-Chi. Like, he really wasn't evil. He had a motivation for what he was doing with his wife, and the rings kind of corrupted him. Not in the same way that the sword did, obviously, but it's just like, again, perfect. He didn't do anything crazy with the children because the children were just a means to lure Thor there, which I thought was great. I liked the fact that we had what's his name as the son. That was really cool. It felt like this was an MC movie that was well blended, but again, it was just Thor's own story. It made me laugh. And I did think that Christian Bale was pretty creepy and scary, especially with his eyes and that dark shot. Having them take the color out of that scene and atmosphere was brilliant. I just really liked it. And yeah, I would rewatch this a million times before I would rewatch Ragnarok. In fact, I haven't rewatched Ragnarok. I watched Ragnarok once in the theater and I was good. To me,
See,
Ragnarok was trying way too hard to be funny, and this blended the funniness in with the movie a lot better than Ragnarok did, in my opinion.
for me, the reason Ragnarok is more enjoyable is because its action scenes are more memorable. This movie has the problem of samey villains that they're just kind of slashing at, and it's surprising how much gore there is, even though it's all different colors. Like, as long as the blood's not red, it's okay to be super gory, to slay tons of people. Disney, a family company. But like, yeah, the fight between Thor and Hulk is way more memorable. The Thor and Valkyrie scene when they're jumping from ship to ship, that was just a visual spectacle that I enjoyed watching. Um, like I said, I feel like Christian Bale was a good villain, but he's a dark horror movie villain just put into a comedy. And I will say, I agree. I think your roommate's criticism is invalid. I didn't go to the Lost City and go, oh, I dislike it because it had rom-com elements and was predictable.
Right.
No, I knew exactly what I was going to see when I went to see it, just like I did with this film. But stepping away from the comparisons to Ragnarok, because Ragnarok had a similar problem, I think with these films, they're trying to deal with very deep concepts and they're not giving the film enough room to deal with the drama of that. You know, when you watch something something like BoJack Horseman that perfectly blends drama with comedy. And then you look at something like this where it's just all comedy and maybe 7 minutes of the film is cut out for drama, and it just doesn't give it the room to breathe. So it ultimately, to me, feels inconsequential. Um, I did like the villain's goal was just to eliminate these gods, and they take the time to show us that these gods, a majority of them, are not worthy of their title. So you do kind of have that understanding, if not sympathy, for the villain's motivation. And that was another thing they could have dealt with and nuanced, and having Thor try to win him over in a conversation.
Mhm.
And they kind of speed run that too. They get to the end and it's just Thor's like, no, 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 you're really upset because you lost a loved one, not because you want revenge. That's not going to change anything. And if they just given that more room to breathe, they could have kept the comedy and maybe have more inventive action sequences.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't expecting or wanting that from this movie. I get what you're saying for sure. But I think that just the quick going back and forth, the comedy to serious, is kind of what this movie's about. And just kind of the style that they're going for with Thor. And yeah, I will agree that I think the fight sequences could have been a little bit longer. I think that is one of my biggest complaints of the movie. um but
Well, it's like what you were mentioning earlier. Like you have that really cool gimmick of the shadow realm where you only have a sparse amount of color. I was expecting that to just be a visually stunning fight, and it was just okay.
yeah.
Like a fight in the shadow realm where all you can see is the color from lightning and the yellow of his eyes, with shadows coming up, him just lurking from them. It could have been epic.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, they go on that side quest for the lightning bolt, and it's supposed to be the equivalent of an army. And I really didn't feel like it did much, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But I think that was more so setting up for whatever else they got going on for the sequel. um
Yeah. One thing I am curious about, how many people were in the theater when you watched it?
oh, there was a good amount of people. When I stood up, I was actually shocked, and it was on a Monday night. um
Yeah, and there were a bunch of people in my theater too. And you know that issue that the Marvel movies have of late where they'll have a character come on screen and they'll just kind of pause the movie for everyone to cheer for them.
yeah.
They had that moment in this movie for Darcy when she sits down, like the movie just stops for a minute and she has some like facial expressions. It was dead silent in my theater. It was so quiet, I laughed when I realized what was going on. I was like, they think people are cheering for Darcy? What? I didn't even remember her name till she sat down and said it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that was weird.
I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I don't. I guess I just this movie just caught me in a good mood or something, because yeah, just really enjoyed it more so than any of the other Thor movies. And I think the my other thing with Ragnarok, I hate to keep going back to it, but I didn't really like how they didn't have Beta Ray Bill. I really, really wanted Beta Ray Bill to be in Ragnarok, and the fact that he wasn't pissed me off. So that was a big no-no for me in that
Wait,
movie.
who?
Beta Ray Bill. Do you know who that is?
Not a clue. What are you talking about?
You don't know who Beta Ray Bill is?
No,
Do you watch any of the Marvel like shows, or have you read any of the comics with Ragnarok?
no.
Gotcha. Okay, well, Beta Ray Bill is another Thor from a different universe, and He was a huge part of Ragnarok in like the animated series and in the comics, and they have him on one of the buildings in Ragnarok as like a facial structure or whatever, just to show that he was a champion there, but he wasn't in the movie at all. And that was a big issue.
Oh, is that the horse face guy?
Yes. They
Okay.
the fact that they
The,
didn't have him really pissed me off in Ragnarok.
I'm pretty sure he was in Planet Hulk, that animated movie. And I
Yes, he
think
was.
that's the only thing I've seen him in.
Yes. So yeah, again, not the biggest thing in the world, but that I don't know. Just for me personally, I think that that's what kind of turned me off to that movie.
Hey,
Um,
a huge thing about these movies is fan service. So if you're a fan and they're not servicing you, they're failing.
yeah, but I mean, overall, good movie, best Thor movie in my opinion. I really like. I can never say his name. The director, Wakiki, or whatever his name is.
Taika Waititi.
Yes, he's really funny. I don't really didn't really like What We Do in the Shadows. I haven't really seen all of it, but that kind of humor is sometimes lost on me. But he's growing on me. I think he's doing a lot better.
And he made that movie that you recommended to me, Hunt for the Wilder People.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep, that and Jojo Rabbit, which I really enjoyed. I also do love What We Do in the Shadows, the movie and the show. It's actually about to come back on air. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it when I was there, so I was like, "Oh, okay, that's nice." But yeah, again, and again, back to my roommate. She's so annoying. Like when we were watching the trailers, she would watch. We watched the Beast trailer with Idris Elba. At the end of the
Yeah,
trailer, she said, "I'll watch that, but that looks so dumb." And again, I know exactly why she thinks it's dumb because she thinks that she knows the entire movie. And again, I know them. They're gonna escape from the lion, or the lion's gonna whatever. They're gonna win. They're gonna get away. The lion's probably gonna eat the tourist guy. They're gonna tear it. We get the movie, but
yeah,
that's I'm still gonna go into it and enjoy it. And she just
right.
cannot get past
I'm gonna
that.
see that movie to watch Idris Elba punch a line in the face. That's
Right.
what I want to see. Like that was my letdown for the Meg. I wanted to see the Meg because I wanted to see Jason Statham punch a shark in the face, and it didn't happen, and I was disappointed.
Wow. And then the trailer for Nope came up. And she said, "Oh, this is that new Jordan Peele movie. I'm not even gonna pay attention to it." And then just looked at her phone the entire time and did la 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 in her head. And I'm just like, I don't understand what you're doing here because I again, the Nope movie is about aliens. You're not gonna get really that much out of this trailer. And how do you feel like you can just predict the entire movie just for the trailer? Like, I get that there are some trailers that really suck and really do that, tell you the whole fucking movie. But
Yeah, but
again, that's not why. This is the same girl that loved and gave Cinderella 5 stars. You know what the fuck, or not Cinderella, 101 Dalmatians with Cruella, is what I meant.
yeah,
You know that what the fuck is going on with Cruella. She fucking hates Dalmatians. Like, you know what's gonna happen. Why is this so different from that shit? And then she also, a ad came up for the subtitles for the movie. So like if somebody, needs subtitles, they can have that little device and have that. And then she comments to me, she's like, I could never have that because I could not watch the movie and watch the subtitles at the same time. And I'm like, you just said that you thought that you guessed the whole movie just from the trailer, but now you're saying that you can't take your eyes off the screen for 1 second to look at the subtitles to go back. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that you've seen the whole movie from the fucking trailer, but then can't take your eyes off the screen for a second to read some subtitles. It's just like she's so flippy floppy with what she says, and I swear it only has to do with whether or not she likes the material. And then she comes up with this random shit that she says. It's just like, and there are a lot of people like that. It's not just her. There are a lot of people who just whatever it is, they'll come up with an excuse as to why, or they do or don't like it, and it's usually bullshit.
Okay, well now that we're done talking shit about your roommate,
For
no,
real.
I do get annoyed when I have to listen to people give invalid criticisms, or if their defense of something is just, oh, well, I liked it. It's like, okay, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I never want myself or anyone to not enjoy a movie. But at the same time, if everyone's response is, yeah, it's fine, like nothing improves, criticism is important. Um, and you get that a lot with Marvel, which is also why I kind of want to talk about Miss Marvel and just the MCU as a whole now that Thor has just dropped. And we've gotten 6 movies and 5 shows in the past 13 months. And it's kind of crazy. Like the COVID delays just pushed everything back.
Hmm.
And Miss Marvel hasn't finished yet. The final episode comes out tomorrow. But how far along are you and what are your thoughts on that?
I really like it. I think that it's a good different, like it is the Marvel formula. It is, I would say, not overly complicated. It's giving me a good view of a different culture when it comes to superhero movies, and I think that that representation really matters. Um, I think it is one of Marvel's better shows. However, I'm not I'm not in a rush to see it. Like I'm not caught up like you are. I think I've only seen like the first 4 episodes, 3 or 4. Um, whereas back when WandaVision was on, it was like every single week I was right there, because I just had to find out what was happening. And I don't know if those were just because those were main Avengers and that was just off of the hype of everything that had just happened with Endgame and all that stuff. But I don't know. It's tough. Because
For
there is
me,
just
it
so
was
much content, like you're saying. It's just we have so much to consume nowadays. It's hard to be excited week by week.
right. I'm actually loving Miss Marvel. I like it more than WandaVision right now. WandaVision did keep me coming back more because of the mystery element, but Miss Marvel is intelligent enough to know that its story has been told before. So they kind of speed run all the beats of the story that are common and relatable and redundant because you know that, and they just kind of stylize the storytelling, like with the moving backgrounds to convey text and stuff like that. But they take their time to let the cultural differences breathe. Like you were saying, like I'm getting more exposure to that culture and that world because the show is smart enough to know this is the original part of our story. This is what we need to give time to. And there's only 6 episodes, 5 are out, and the last one's about to drop. And it's actually refreshing because what we're at a place at the end of episode 5 where I have no idea how it's gonna wrap up. It seems like the show could already be done. If there wasn't another episode, I'd be like, okay, cool, cool, cool. There's some stuff to dive into in the next season. But yeah, I don't even know where it's gonna go. I assume it's going to set up the movie Miss Marvels, but that's just kind of the nature of the MCU now, where the movies will lead into the shows and then the shows will weave into the movies. And with so much extra content, how are you feeling about that?
Um, I don't know because I kind of am excited for Miss Marvel in the same way that I'm excited for America. Child, it's just like I want more, and but I need. I don't know. I don't know what I need. It's tough because with so much going on, I don't know. Like it was easier with the other phase of MCU with the Infinity Gauntlet and the stones because it was just easier to see the linear path that they were going down. With this, it's just like you don't know. We don't know if they're going in a direction with the 10 rings and the artifacts, the bracelet that Miss Marvel has. We don't know if they're gonna lean more into the multiverse with what's going on with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. And yeah, I don't know. I really just don't.
Well, two things. One, there is supposed to be some kind of convention soon where Marvel's going to speak and give us more on the roadmap. I don't know if they're going to spell out what phase six is going to be, but just give us an idea of where they're heading. But two, you're comparing this to phase three with the Infinity Stones, but that was like a three-act structure that ended. So this is more akin to the first few Avengers movies. And we're actually seeing that. We saw Iron Man, he got the superhero origin story, just like Miss Marvel is currently getting. And we got Iron Man 2 where it kind of built out the lore and introduced some side characters like Thor, Love and Thunder, and Doctor Strange 2 has done. And we're going back to basics. Everything's getting built up. They're just kind of establishing the characters that are going to be carrying this forward. And when you actually think about it, having another young, half-assed guardian, half Gore the God Butcher, whatever kid that can control the Bifrost, that's a pretty cool character to set up. And then
Hmm.
you've got Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau. They're going to be teaming up with Captain Marvel. And we've got American Chavez who can jump through multiverses. We've got Doctor Strange more powerful than he's ever been. And we know that the Fantastic Four and X-Men are on the horizon. So honestly, yeah, there have been several times during this phase where I have felt like they're just testing stuff out to gauge reaction because I'm not sure they're going to bring back the Eternals. But at the same time, I do feel like they're just establishing pieces and they've probably got a plan. They haven't messed up so far, so I'm down. I haven't gotten fatigued yet. I'm still enjoying the movies enough. Thor, Love and Thunder was hilarious despite my few problems with it. I enjoyed seeing it. I went and saw it with a bunch of friends. We all loved it, had a great time, and we still talk every week about the MCU shows. So it's going strong. After Miss Marvel, it's like a 3 week gap, and then we go into She-Hulk, and I'm curious to see what that's about. I'm curious to see what's going on with Hulk, and I'm curious to see where we're at in the timeline because we know in Shang-Chi that the Hulk has went back to Bruce Banner and his arm's still messed up. And from the trailer, it looks like he's still Professor Hulk in She-Hulk. So I'm just kind of curious to see what's going on in the overall universe, get back to the lore of it all.